to the RunRX Podcast, where we talk about all things running. As many runners know, it's 90% mental. So join Coach Valerie and Coach Caroline as we go through the mental side of running. Welcome back to the RunRX Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Caroline, and I'm here with Coach Valerie. Coach, we were talking last week about getting stuck in our mind and getting that kind of leaves us stuck on the ground. And we started talking about this idea of like, we all have these mantras and the you go girl, or way to go, you got this. And what's funny is when I hear those motivational things, or if I'm in a bad spot in my run, or maybe I'm having a lousy day and somebody says, you got this, there's like a teenager primitive brain. We all have this little voice in our head, right? But mine is like a 13-year-old or even a 12-year-old rolling her eyes at me. And she just says, whatever. Right. So
You're almost there.
Right. We all have that. Right. Some of them is like a 2-year-old running with a pair of scissors and just isn't listening to you. Some are a teenager, but not all of our primitive brain is really trying to help us. And so you made a really good point, though, that when we get stuck in that doing, you give us the do to do. Can you expound on that?
Yeah. Well, it's funny. When I first got into distance running, like marathons and things like that, it was so long ago. We didn't have before. It was before Garmin's and race pictures and all that. No social media. So anyway, I wasn't yet. Long running was new to me, and so people would. It was very common, and it's still common today. But when we go out to do these long runs, and I had friends that had already done marathons, for example, and I was like, what do you guys think about when it gets hard out there? And they're like, oh, I say things like, you can do this. I can do this. I am strong. Or people had like spiritual quotes and, and then when you're out there running, people are saying these things to you. You can do this. And it's a lifting, it's uplifting. But what I realized was it wasn't actually helping me run. Like it was nice to get the feeling or to even think that. However, it wasn't helping my body. Like my legs were still tired.
Right.
And so when I started getting into coaching running and the movement of running, well, then, all of a sudden you have it to do. My job in running is to pull is to pull your foot off the ground. So I have to do my job the whole time. And I want to be better at my job. So then instead of I can do this, it became I can do what I need to do, which is for me, it's up, up, up. Up, 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 exhale. That's how I do everything. So my job is pulling. And then of course, breathing is part of running. So I'm like, if you want to write a little inspirational quote, remind yourself to pull your feet up, up, up.
So I want to expound on that because we've also talked about this idea that we get stuck in this, like, I've got one hip that's, lopsided or toes not there. And one of the inspirations I have is invariably pretty much every race, I'll see that one person that's maybe an amputee or they're in a wheelchair. And especially the amputees, I think to myself, I'm crabbing because, I'm tired and I'm having a bad day. And that guy has like one leg and I'm sure that prosthetic isn't comfortable. That's usually what gets me out of my funk is I think, be thankful and be blessed and, hey, he's staying ahead of you, you stay with him kind of thing. But you've taught runners that actually you taught a runner without legs, correct?
Yeah, I've actually had one with one leg amputee and one double leg amputee. Both had mid-thigh.
So I was going to say, how do they pull?
Well, they have prosthetics, obviously, but they have, and again, so this is so. I actually have worked with a hip level amputee before as well, and she has no hamstring. It's a full prosthetic, so it's a very different. It's a different field. However, it's gonna still be hip. Here's what's fascinating with runners when they face some kind of diversity like that, and we see that, and we're like, oh my gosh, she's running and she has one leg, or this is so inspiring, right? Mm-hmm. And what they've done in their rehab is learn how to adapt their movement so they can still move. They didn't say, I'm going to not move anymore because I have this limitation. They saw it as I have this limitation, or I don't have this limitation. I just have to learn how to now move in a new way. That's the best way to see it. I now need to learn how to move in a new way so that I can continue moving. That's the goal. Don't we get excited? Like they come, I mean, I had a woman, she got hit by a car, lost half her leg, and she was training for a triathlon. And she went back that next year and did the whole triathlon. I mean, that kind of motivation and drive. And I simply just helped her with how to balance and pose on with the prosthetic, how to pull the foot, how to still use, she still got gravity still available. And so we just worked on it. What could she do to make her run be as best as it could be? And that's what we tell all of you guys. It's like, I have tight hips. Who doesn't? You know?
Yeah. Well, we all have like little deficiencies or lopsidedness, or you do have maybe you're halfway through the marathon and you get a stitch in your side. And I guess that's kind of what I want to bring people into, which is if you have something that, okay, the doctor says I have a bad hip, or my feet are short, or whatever limitation that your doctor, who's trying to protect you, right? It's nothing, doctors are trying to keep you safe, just like your primitive brain. That doesn't mean you can't run. That they're just trying to keep you safe. You just need to modify the movement.
Right.
Correct.
And it's never going to be perfect. So we had a woman, by the way, just say that. She came in and she said, my doctor says my hip is, I have whatever, one hip is tighter than the other. Okay, that's okay. And then so she said, well, should I even run? Should I just not run at all until both of my hips are balanced? And I was like, you'll never walk or run again in your life.
Yeah, exactly. You're never going to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, we have to look at the other way that, yes, we all might have some structural things we need to do extra work on, which is why we do the strength and the self-care, guys. And we all know we need it. We're going to work on our mobility. We're going to work on our foundational strength so that we make our structure as sound as we can, whatever structure we have. And your body, by the way, your mind and body are connected. So even if you do have one side that's this or this and that, it's okay. Your body deals with that all day long. So it's going to deal with it while you're running as well. We're just going to make sure that we alleviate as much as we can any inefficiency, and just the less you're on the ground, the less chance of any injury. So really, that's the key.
Right. And it's, and just remember that you're basically, we've talked about this too. Your body is really strong, and it will do whatever your mind tells it to do, which is why your mind has the ability to stop you. Well, don't go there. That's scary. We want you to go. Don't run. You're breathing heavy. Your heart rate's going up. Just go sit down. You're safer that way, right? Your mind wants to protect you. But if your mind says, no, there is a fire and you need to get your child out of that house, right? You're not going to feel the burns. Your mind is so incredible. So you have to realize that the same mind is also going to get you across the finish line. And then you're going to be like collapse, and you're going to say, I'm going to faint. And then after 10 minutes of resting, you're going to get up and you're going to make your way to the bathroom or to the car or wherever. That's one of the things you guys got to remember after 4 marathons. I don't care how miserable it was. I don't care how cold I was. I don't care how much I thought I was going to die. Right? I'm dying here. Somehow I still had to get up and go to the bathroom because nobody was going to go to the bathroom for me. Right? Could they have brought me a bedpan? I'm sure they could have. But my point is that at the end of the day, you will keep moving. Your body will keep going. So if you learn to move correctly so that it's not in that much pain when you're done, you will keep going. Right?
Well, of course. I mean, that's the whole point. The whole point is, despite anything else around you, if you work on moving correctly and teaching your body how to move well and move correctly, it's going to move well for you. That's the heart of it, I guess.
So we hope you guys will stick around with us for more episodes. We took a little bit of a break for a couple of weeks there. We were just slammed with a lot of work, but we're recording new episodes every day. And if you have questions, if you've got something that you're just not feeling right when you run, you want to have a training question, maybe you've been following us and something just isn't jiving, you can email us at support@runrx.fit. That's support@runrx.fit. Okay, it's not .com, it's .fit, and we will answer it on the podcast. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for joining us on the RunRX Podcast. If you'd like to know more, join us at www.runrx.fit. And if you have additional questions that you'd like answered on the podcast, email us at support@runrx.fit.